50% tariffs just hit billions in Canadian imports. 3 days of face-to-face talks collapsed on August 22nd into a two-way escalation that reaches factories, farms, and liquor shelves on both sides of the border. What exactly was just triggered? How much trade does it really cover? And what happens when the promised retaliation arrives? The window was created at the last possible hour. A 50% duty under Section 338 of the Smoot-Hawley Act, its first modern use, was set for 12:01 a.m. on August 19th. Fewer than 2 hours before midnight on the night of August 18th, that duty was paused for 3 days at Canada's request until midnight Friday, August 22nd. On that night, President Donald Trump said a very good and very fair deal had been reached subject to finalizing documents. Prime Minister Mark Carney said only that substantial progress had been made, but important work still remains. By the evening of August 21st, no deal had been announced. Late on August 22nd, the pause lapsed, the duties took effect, and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, also rendered Jameson Greer in filings, said Canada declined to finalize. What was hit remains disputed on paper because the text never came. One set of reports puts the basket at roughly $28 billion, another at about $20 billion, the same basket priced in Canadian dollars at about 28 billion Canadian. Independent guidance reviewed after the filings puts the definitive U.S. value near $20 billion, about 5% of what Canada sells to its largest customer, inside a dependency where about 70% of Canadian goods exports go to the United States. The product list is wide either way. Presenters and correspondents cited wine, cement, dairy, hockey equipment, aluminum, and steel, with other filings adding softwood lumber and autos. The annexes run to hundreds of tariff lines: dairy powders and whey, alcoholic beverages, cement, sporting goods, furniture, textiles, machinery. What stays out is definitive oil, gas, and critical minerals, and with them potash and fish, plus anything already under Section 232 duties introduced last year. Steel and aluminum referenced at 50% stay at that rate, they do not get another 50 on top. Softwood lumber sits under its own separate Section 232 treatment. During the pause, the numbers that would have mattered most to factories never hardened. Reports described aluminum, steel, and auto parts duties easing from 50 to 25% and top auto duties from 25 to 15%. The White House said on August 20th the deal was still being finalized and that reporting on details should be treated as speculation. None of those cuts appeared in a legal text. When the talks collapsed, they lapsed. Canada's biggest ask, relief on the existing Section 232 steel, aluminum, and auto tariffs, was left unresolved. The gap between claims is starkest on dairy. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc held supply management as a red line Canada did not concede, including quota allocations alongside softwood lumber, auto counter tariffs, and provincial liquor bans. Greer's suspension proclamation says Canada committed to address dairy, including discriminatory tariff rate quota administration favoring European access over U.S. access. No verified concession on the supply management system itself was finalized. Dairy farmers have flagged concern over the lack of details. Greer still must brief Congress, and no joint fact sheet exists to resolve which characterization holds. Provinces used alcohol as retaliation long before this duty. Ontario's Premier Doug Ford ordered American products delisted at the LCBO. British Columbia's Premier said there was not a chance in hell of restocking without relief on lumber, steel, and aluminum, and British Columbia, Quebec, and New Brunswick tied any return to sectoral relief. One accounting puts the LCBO exposure at more than $1 billion on more than 3,600 American products from more than 30 states, more than 15% of revenue absent for months. Research reviewed after the reports puts the storage cost at about $8 million, while American distillers lost access to a $1 billion market, with LCBO revenue projected near $1.8 billion, down from $2.3 billion. If a deal had been struck, American alcohol could have returned, but timing is a provincial decision. Early polling in Ontario, British Columbia, and Quebec indicates a majority say they will not buy American alcohol if restocked or have moved to alternatives, including Nanos at about 74% unlikely, and other polls in the 42 to 80% range. U.S. spirits exports to Canada have already fallen by more than 70% under the bans. Aluminum underlines the energy at stake. Canada ships 2.7 million tons a year to the United States, described in Canadian statements as the energy equivalent of 5 Hoover dams, about 4 to 4.5 times in the research review. Those flows sit under Section 232 at 50%, separate from the new 50%. In Warren, Michigan, that math lands on a shop floor. Custom furniture owner Michael Howard of Howard Family Designs told CBC on August 18th that about 70% of U.S. Softwood lumber is sourced from Canada, that a prospective 50% tariff expected as early as August 19th would be unaffordable for customers, that he had already lost a hospital desk and furniture project, and one staff member faces about a $3,000 profit loss on another client unwilling to absorb costs, cannot absorb the duties, and must pass them on, that it takes years to bring a lumber mill online, and that other county businesses reliant on Canadian aluminum have closed. He attributed muted public discussion to fear of retaliation. This was never pitched as a final pact. Officials and analysts described an interim basket to lower the temperature as a bridge to renewal of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. Almost a year of bilateral stalemate saw little direct movement, while Washington negotiated with Mexico, with more progress only in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Canada briefed cabinet and premiers on August 19th. Minister LeBlanc stayed in Washington, expected to meet Greer at 11:15 a.m. in what was called a cordial endgame, while former High Commissioner Ralph Goodale said the Advisory Committee on Canada-U.S. Economic Relations had not met in 48 hours and was on standby. Former White House trade advisor Kellyanne Shaw said the trappings of a deal to stave off tariffs within a couple of days or 72 hours existed, but nothing is done until done, assessing a deal by end of Friday as greater than not likely to bring Canada back into the trilateral review from which it had been excluded. Canadian Chamber Executive Vice President Matthew Holmes called the tone positive, but said the scheduled Section 338 tariff would hit small and medium enterprise-heavy industries with existential risks and small but meaningful macro effects, with 12 to 18 months of uncertainty already sidelining investment, even as Canada pursues diversification. What was triggered now moves to calendars without text. No joint fact sheet or legal text was finalized. Canada's pledge to retaliate dollar for dollar, matching every dollar of American duties, is described in source material as targeting steel, dairy, appliances, agricultural equipment, pulp and paper and electronics, with independent guidance pointing to September 8th, the day after Labor Day, but no full list with timing was published, and officials said details would come in coming days. During talks, Canada had signaled willingness to drop some retaliatory duties on steel, aluminum, and autos if the U.S. substantially lowered its rates, and to encourage provinces to restore alcohol sales. The broader frame also slipped. The United States declined a 16-year extension at the July 1st joint review, leaving annual reviews with the pact in force until 2036 unless renewed earlier. A near deal had reportedly included launching formal renewal negotiations. That is now off the table. Canada says it will not join upcoming trilateral talks without a bilateral deal, and the text that was supposed to prevent either the duties or the retaliation remains unwritten while the duties are imposed and the retaliation is promised. Like and follow for more stories that matter.